Welcome to the Winning Edge Investments Podcast. Winning Edge Investments provides industry-leading horse racing and sports betting tips, ratings and education, enabling you to invest intelligently and treat your betting like a business. Go to www.winningedgeinvestments.com to learn more about how you can start to supercharge your betting bank immediately. Treat your betting like a business and invest intelligently with Winning Edge Investments.
Welcome back to Giddy Up on this Friday morning, and thanks to Winning Edge Investments, tips and ratings for racing and sports. It's always great to catch up with Dean Evans. Hello, Dino.
Good morning, Gareth. How are you going?
I am excited, mate. I've been saying this all morning. When you've got the AFL Grand Final on tomorrow, you've got an NRL preliminary final tonight in Melbourne with the Storm and the Roosters taking on each other. You've got the best night at the Valley than I can recall ever, for me anyway, with that SEN Stakes and the Manikato, and then we roll on to, of course, Golden Rose Day there at Rose Hill tomorrow, along with the Grand Final and another prelim. So it doesn't get any better for us sporting fans.
Yeah, absolutely ripping weekend, as you said. For all of us who love our racing and sport, it's just an absolute smorgasbord all weekend. So get your chips and your drinks ready and sit back on the couch and enjoy it.
Yeah, 100%. Let's have a look at the Manikato tonight, and I'm looking forward to this clash because you've got the proven star and I Wish I Win taking on some exciting young horses, some of the 3-year-olds that are stepping up once again to wait for age for the first time, like a Growing Empire. Sugi had a crack at I Wish I Win there the other day in the Moya. And having a look at the market tonight, you've got Growing Empire at $4.40, a clear favourite for Kiramar Craig Williams. I Wish I Win $5.50. Estriella at $6, Sugi at $6, V8's at $10, who's had support. Recommendation is at $10. Then we go to Coleman at $15, Southport Tycoon at 20-1, Komachi at 23, Climbing Star at 26, Johnny Rocker at 29, and Caballas is the outsider at 34. Who wins the Manikato?
Oh, look, a great race. It's always a great race. The likes of Buffering Lank and Rupee, Bella Nicotina, Imperatrice and Chautauqua win recently, so it's always a top race, and I think it's even better this year because they've brought it forward by about a month, and they're now all auditioning for the Everest. It makes profiling it a bit differently. In previous years, 11 of the 13 winners were third up or more, but because it was deeper in the carnival, that was more where we're up. Whereas we've got these horses sort of up and going and trying to peak for it early with most of them sort of first or second up. A wide spread of ages and genders in winning this race, so that doesn't give us too much of a line, but it's usually the horses in the market. 12 of the 13 winners are in the top 5 in the market, so it's not a race where the market usually gets it too wrong. I think the speed's sort of above average, but not super hot. And I think you'll see Estriella from that wide gate. I don't think Blake Shin's going to want to get caught 3 wide, no cover again, like the Moya. So I suspect he'll be pushing across and leading. Recommendation, Growing Empire. And then the two that are probably going to get the best runs in the race are Komachi and V8 will probably be 4th and 5th and right behind that solid speed. Track Walker says Moonee Valley's going to play, with the rain seemingly having avoided it pretty on speed and rails, and that throws a spanner in the works. There's 3 1,200-metre races before the Manikato to see if there's any hope of anything running on. But, on pure ratings, if the race was on a big track like Randwick, the horses that I thought rated the best and are the best sprinters in the race are I Wish I Win, Sugi, and Southport Tycoon, who jumped out absolutely brilliantly. I think with the blinkers on is absolutely flying, but the problem is I've got them mapping the last 3 in the race, and I think they're just going to get too far back. So from a map perspective, you've got the likes of Estriella and V8 and Growing Empire, who certainly map the best. If the track plays as I expect, and there just doesn't seem to be enough hope of 4 horses way back getting into the race, then I think Estriella is really going to improve on its first up run. They were very keen on it there. It just stuck out 3 wide, no cover is always difficult to do. And I think if it can shoot to the lead and control the race, then it's going to be hard to run down. And I think the horse that might surprise if you was V8. He profiled very similar to a horse, Hey Doc, who I backed to in this race at Big Oaks for Tony McIlroy a few years ago. It was just sort of that 1,400 metre miler. But first up, it was in that really, really quick jump out behind Katsu at Cranbourne. He's gone to Moonee Valley 3 times to work. So I think he's very much set for this. He's won 3 from 3 first up. He maps beautifully. And so I think from an each way perspective, V8 is one horse that's really good value at the moment.
It is going to be a fascinating race, especially with that speed map, as you pointed out. If you can't make up ground, they might all want to go forward in the early part. So, it's going to be an interesting night. On Saturday, we've got some key races there at Rose Hill. Race 5 is the Heritage. We've got Gatsby's at 2:30. This is the 3-year-old contest. Ikasara is at 4:20. Bodyguard at 4:60. High Octane at 10. Winning Proposal at 13. Then Altoff at $17. Perspiration out to 29 and Rich at 29. I was in Sydney yesterday. It never stopped raining, Dino.
It didn't, no, and it's still wet. But the track this morning, from what I saw, is still sub 5. So, and the forecast was originally quite bad for today, but it seems to, around Rose Hill at least, not be as bad as it was. So it might not be the kind of the bog heavy that everyone was expecting. Although, one where the forecast might be just completely off, but it might not be quite as bad as people were initially expecting. A nice race here with some real sort of up and coming sprinting types. The horse that I've always had a lot of time for here is Bodyguard. Really like it for Manikato Trial Stakes win. They won the Blue Diamond Prelude. With a really, really good run in the Todman, and then sort of had an issue in the Golden Slipper. Had to be spelled. Came back really well. Won the trial by 6.5 lengths at Rose Hill. Is auditioning for the Everest, and what's a pretty strong race with Gatsby's. So I think with that softer track, he was really impressive in the Rosebud, and then the track was too firm for it in the San Domenico. So I think Gatsby's going to bounce back and be very hard to beat. But the one I really got my eye on is Bodyguard. He's auditioning for the Everest. He'll be really nice and wound up for this. He's very good fresh, and he's a very, very underrated colt.
Yeah, I had a chat to James Harron a few weeks back, and they want to get him into the Everest. He needs to perform well. If he wins, I reckon he will get a slot in the Everest if he wins on Saturday. So, can't wait for the Heritage. Maybe you have something on him for an Everest and just take the punt there, because he won't be the price. I think he's around 50 to 1 at the moment. He won't be that price if he wins, of course, on Saturday. Then we go to the Golden Rose. Broadsiding and James Cummings are trying to do this first up. It will be a pretty handy training performance if he can do that with Broadsiding from an inside gate. J-Mac rides at 3:20. Traffic Warden at 4. Stormboy at 4:60. Linebacker at 6:50. Emirate at 13. A Note at 15, Mayfair at 19, then Tropicus at 23, Fearless at 34, and Clear Proof is the outsider at 150 to 1 with Bet365.
Yeah, look, stallion-making race. All 10 horses are colts here. We've had the likes of Zoostar on the Autumn Sun, Bill Black, Ole Kirk, and the Congo Militarized win this race. In the last 13 years, only 3 horses have tried it first up. A couple of handy horses, Yankee Rose and Shinzo. None of them have been able to place. So Broadsiding's going to try and take that challenge on here. 11 of the 13 winners have come off a 14-day break. They usually come out of the run to the Rose and run well there. Godolphin's won the race 4 times. All of them ran in the run to the Rose as a lead-up, with 3 of them winning. Chris Waller's won it 3 times as well. Always a top horse race. In fact, all 13 winners have been number 1 to 5.
I'll just interrupt you there. Sorry, mate. I have got a text message back. It's a heavy 8 at the moment at Rose Hill. They've had 31.3 millimetres in the last 24 hours and 39.9 millimetres the last 7 days. The penetrometer's at 5.91, so that is a lot heavier than I thought it would be. Anyway.
Yeah, no, well, the information I got this morning was clearly wrong. But I think that track is going to help Traffic Warden. I think a few weeks ago, I told your listeners to back it. It was around $11 in futures. It was trialling unbelievably well ahead of the race, and it's Thorn winning a VRC size produce and beating the nose in the size produce Group 1 in Sydney. It handles the wet. It was pretty wet that day when it got beaten nose by Manal. It also bled that day and so on. It got beaten nose. His closing sectionals in the Run to the Rose were exceptional. He really finished strongly. He's going to be fit, and that wetness on the track for me is just icing on the cake really for Traffic Warden. I'm finding it very, very hard to see him beaten. You got the likes of Storm Boy, who's his issue is that he misses the kick, but if he jumps well and jumps with him and sits on the lead, then he's certainly going to be the one to run down. And Linebacker, he ran the quickest closing sectionals of the Golden Rose, or ran about a length quicker in closing than Traffic Warden, but he was a lot further back. He's the other one who looks a danger. I think Broadsiding's a bit of a risk first up. He's obviously a very, very high quality colt. He's probably the best horse to try and win this first up. And the wet track, he won the Champagne on the bog heavy, and the size produce on a wet track as well. But I just think first up here, I think that they're going to be, Broadsiding's more targeting either the Caulfield Guineas or the King Charles, and then they're trying to leave enough on the tank for the Cox Plate. So although I think he's going to run a big race, so I have Traffic Warden clearly on top. I think he's going to be very, very hard to beat.
Do you give Emirates a chance now on this heavy 8?
Look, he won pretty impressively first up on an absolute bog at Warwick Farm. So the fact he handles it is a positive. I just think it's pretty early for him. He's taking on some pretty seasoned colts here, and also think he can run a nice race. I can't see him beating the likes of Traffic Warden.
All right then, mate. What about Pride of Jenny v Mr. Brightside? I can't let you go without asking you for a tip there in the fan.
I think the way the track is expected to play at Moonee Valley, with a real sort of leader inside bias, it's going to be very, very hard for them to run Pride of Jenny down. She was obviously just born in first up, but she did have to run into that wind, that strong suburb, so about at Caulfield first up. She obviously turned it right back, and then the Kyrie Diva, when she was only sort of beaten half a length, and just the way that she, she's not as effective on heavy going, and Mr. Brightside loves it. Mr. Brightside sort of got this perfect card up behind Antino that he might not get this time. So I do think Pride of Jenny's just going to lead all the way and break their heart and set up what's going to be an absolutely ripping edition of the King Charles, with Pride of Jenny taking on Fangirl and the rest of them.
Yeah, I think Mr. Brightside might rock up there to Sydney as well to meet the King. My mail is, so it's going to be some day there on Everest Day.
An absolute cracker.
Yep, can't wait. Hey, mate, all we need to do is go to Winning Edge Investments this weekend. Go to the website. Not only can you get looked after with the racing right across the country in all codes, you can have you get looked after with the AFL Grand Final and the NRL Prelim Final. So, and if you mention SEN, you get a 50% discount for the rest of your life.
Yeah, we love speaking with all your listeners, and we've had plenty of incredible feedback from them, enjoying the services, and we can't wait to get stuck into the weekend.
No, we're loving it. Thanks for that, Dino. Who's your tip in the footy? I'll hang up if you say Sydney.
I do. Yeah, think he's going to win, and I think it'll be Panthers Storm final in the NRL.
Yeah,
and the All Blacks will be winning as well.
All right. You enjoy your weekend, mate. Thanks for that, Dino.
Cheers, Gareth.
At Winning Edge Investments, our team of highly skilled expert analysts and full-time professional punters review the data, crunch the figures, assess the best betting opportunities, and deliver them to your phone via our app and your email inbox in real time so you profit. Go to www.winningedgeinvestments.com. Look at our membership options Make your choice and enter the promo code PODCAST to receive a special 25% discount on your first membership just for listening. That's PODCAST in capital letters for a 25% ongoing discount on your first membership. Treat your betting like a business and invest intelligently with Winning Edge Investments.